So last session, I kind of talked about help, I can't find products, I'm a new seller. In this session, I'm going to be talking more about help, I'm not making money. So there are many factors that can lead to a drop in sales or not making money. This particular session is geared towards new members that need to see the numbers in perspective to understand how they should be making money. So a couple of things that you want to do to be able to even get to that step is you always want to look at your finances. You want to know exactly what you're spending your money on. So software-wise, if you do RA sourcing, about how much money do you spend per week on gas, all of that stuff. I give some examples in the bottom. I'll go back into that. You want to think about if you're paying yourself. So a lot of people start this business out and they just want to make money. It's not so much about paying themselves a salary. As you go down the road, though, it should be more along those lines of paying yourself a salary. That's definitely something that you want to think about. The next thing is, are you putting away savings? And this is key. This is important. I feel like it's key and I feel like it's important because you never know what's going to happen to your business, and to be able to have that little nest egg is something that is truly helpful. I had been talking to a client for a while, talking about doing savings, getting your savings together, start saving away money and all that stuff. We've been talking about it for a while, and he finally started to do it. Several months later, his account was actually suspended. So when you're suspended, you don't get any sales. So even though his account was suspended, he wasn't really freaking out because he had that savings account of money that he could reach into if necessary to cover his bases while his account was suspended. And luckily, he was reinstated fairly quickly, but you never know what's going to happen. So I always recommend that you put something away as savings. So if you just take a little bit of your profits and put that away for savings. So a couple of things that you want to look at is your ROI, your net, and your sales ranks. So these are going to determine how quickly you turn money and how much money you make. And I'm going to go into those in detail right now. So your ROI should be 50%. It shouldn't be any lower than 50%. As the lowest that people will go to is 40%. And the reason why it shouldn't be lower than 50% is it's kind of padded for your Amazon fees. So you don't want to take away that padding. So your fees and your shipping is kind of already built into that number. So you want to make sure that you are observing that. The next thing is, are you analyzing things properly? So are you looking at the things that we talk about when you have your analyzing call? Are you staying to the sales ranks that were below the push numbers? Are you analyzing the keeper graph? Like, have you looked at the keeper graph to see if that product is on a downward trend price-wise, so you're going to be losing money? Have you looked at the fit as expected number? Because as crazy as that sounds, that fit as expected number is a direct correlation to returns. So if the fit as expected is at 50%, then that means 50% of the people, or half the people that buy this product, say that it doesn't fit right. So they are going to return it because it doesn't fit right. So looking at those points to analyze the product, that's a huge part of it actually selling or not. The sales rank is also a part of that. So not only are you staying below the push number, but depending on where you are financially, you might want to go a little bit lower into your sales ranks. So we have the sales rank guideline in the matrix, and they have the two columns. One is just the sales rank and one is the push rank. So if you are trying to turn products quickly and make money, then you might want to stay below the sales rank number. So that number that's in the first column. And then the next thing is, what is your net? And this can be the difference between being in black or being in red. So I'm going to explain it. I have a nice little demonstration down here. So this is just for OA. So I took the example of just basic OA. So if I am doing OA and I'm just looking at the software, I'm not adding anything onto this, I'm just looking at my software. So I have the How Many extension, which is about $14.95 a month. I have RevSeller, which is an annual subscription of like $99. So I break that down, that's $8.23 a month. I have Tactical Arbitrage, which is if I just do the basic OA plan, which is the product search and the reverse search, that's about $98 a month. I'm paying for my Amazon subscription. I have Keepa, which is $0. And then I either have Inventory Lab or AMZ Control. Now, AMZ Control, we do have a 4-month discount with them. So if you want to try it out for 4 months, you can have the software completely free. So it's very helpful. So if I take all of those fees and tally them up, it equals $171.18. Now that's just my software that I have to pay for monthly in order to do OA. And that's not adding on Storefront Stalker or some other things to help me do that. This isn't including the VA. If you have a VA, it's not including my prep fees. So if I prep products on my own, I'm not taking that into consideration. My salary, I'm not taking that into consideration. My savings, which we definitely recommend, it's not taking that into consideration. Your operating costs, which can be, if you do RA, it can be the subscription to that software. It can be your internet. If you're treating that as a business expense, it can be that cost. Any other software that you use, or your product liability insurance. So these are things that you would have to add in to this calculation. And then once again, can't stress this enough, the 50% ROI after fees is going to give you some padding. So I'm going to give you an example here. So say I'm going for a minimum of $5 net. So any product that I purchase, I want to net at least $5 on it. I would need to divide that by the cost of my software. So if my software is $171.18, I would divide that by 5, which equals 34.236. So let's say I would need to sell about 35 products a month just to cover my fees. So this is what I want you guys to think about, because sometimes you have to work backwards in order to get forwards. Another kind of situation to look at is if I adjust my net, that number will change. The number of products that I need to sell per month will change. So if my net is at least $2, I would need to sell 86 products a month just to cover those fees. So I want you guys to really think about this and think about how it works, because some people, they get excited because they're just selling products and they're breaking even, and then they're like, I'm not making any money. This is why. This is exactly why. If you're netting $1 or $3, it's going to take you longer to get to this number than it would if your net was higher. So if your net is $10, say, you would only need 17 products a month. So I want you to think about this when you're saying, well, how many products a month do I need to sell? What sales ranks do I need to have in order to sell those products? Is my ROI at 50%? Is my net at $10? Now, if your minimum net is $10, that's not saying that you're not going to sell products for 15 net or 20 net or 26 net or anything like that. It's just 10 is your threshold. You're not going below 10. So where you might need, if your minimum is 10 and you're selling products and you're netting more than 10, then it cuts that 17 products down even lower. So I want you guys to think about this when you're calculating how much you need to spend in order to get where you want. So the more things that you add onto this number, the higher the number of products are going to be. So I definitely want you to sit down and write out all of the things that you are spending money on, all of the software that you have, salaries, if you pay prep people, about how much that is. I want you to start keeping track of those numbers and then calculate it out and then do this math. So are your nets appropriate? Is it attainable what your nets are? Is your ROI attainable? Because I know some people that have ROIs that are a little bit crazy. So I definitely want you to take that into consideration. Or their ROI is too low for them to even make money. So I want you to kind of keep all of these things into consideration. So your ROI, your net, the sales rank, and then what your costs are for the month. If you ever get to a point in your business where you're like, oh, well, I don't know how much software I'm using or when it's due or anything like that, you have already lost control of your business. So you want to keep, and I do this for my personal finances. I have an Excel document. It is password protected. I do it every time I get paid. I get paid bi-weekly. And it has the date that all of my payments or my bills are due. And it has the exact amount. So I know, okay, my Verizon bill is going to be due on the 28th of the month, and it costs this amount of money. I know that my Massage Envy subscription is $70 and it's going to be due on this day of the month. So I know what I need to plan for, what I need to schedule for. And the same thing with annual things. For example, I know that my computer virus software expires in July. I know that my D23, which is the Disney fan club subscription, ends in June. So I know that I need to be prepared for those bigger events financially. So a huge part of making money is beginning to keep track of your finances. Go ahead.
I just started with that.
Yeah.
Because I was just selling and say, okay, I'm selling the products.
Yeah.
But I didn't make any money.
Yep.
Now I start having all the products that just give me like $1, okay, I say.
Exactly.
And I start investing in the products that give me more.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it's great to have a sale, but what's not great is knowing that you only made $2 off of it and you're trying to grow your business. So sometimes you have to look at these higher net items. Yep. 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 Mm-hmm. Yep. 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 Exactly. It's nice to have those products in there here and there, those like little ones, but it's not good to have most of your business made up of those products. So you definitely want to be on the lookout for that, and just getting in the process of keeping track of your finances, because also you might be spending money on things that you don't need. So you're pretty much throwing away your money if that's the case. So for example, there are some people, some bigger sellers that have 2 tactical arbitrage accounts because before you can only do one product search at a time. So to get around that, a lot of people went out and they bought 2 tactical arbitrage accounts so that they can run 2 scans at the same time. Well, now that you can run 10 searches on tactical arbitrage, all of those people need to get rid of that second account because it's unnecessary. And if you are not getting rid of your subscriptions or your fees or your services that you don't need or that you don't use, you're throwing away money. That's money that can go back into your business.
Because I don't use it.
Yep. 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 Yep.
I can like give by $70.
Yeah, exactly. It all adds up because that's $70 a month that you were paying. So at the end of the year, like that's going to be, yep, 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 yep. If you have a house phone and you're not using that house phone, then you probably need to get rid of it. I know that sometimes when you bundle, you save money, but it's something that you have to think about. But yeah. Yeah, it adds up. Yep. Yeah, that's products you can buy. So that's basically what this session is. I just want you guys to get in the, yes.
This, that you put over there is like the mainly software that we can have when we started, like how many like seller.
Yep.
This is like the main
Yes.
software what we need
Yes.
for.
Yep. So whenever I have the analyzing products call with you guys and you're just getting started, I always recommend getting how many rev seller and keeper and using those. And then as you start buying products, you want to be able to put them into a system where you can keep control of where your money is going, which is either AMZ control or inventory lab.
Inventory lab.
Inventory lab or AMZ control, they both do the same thing. I feel that AMZ control is a little bit better. Ike also felt the same way because you can put more information into AMZ control. No, it's a software. AMZ control. It's a soft. We did a webinar with them a couple months back. You can demo the software. It's basically where you put like your buy costs. And then you can also put in your other fees like your VA, like how much you're paying your VA or your software. With Inventory Lab, it only lets you put in like your products. But AMZ Control lets you put in the components of your business. So it can be a little bit better with keeping track of things. That's that session. Do you guys have any questions? Does it make sense? It makes sense. Yes. Yeah. Yes, return on investment. It should be, yeah, so let me do it with, and I just need to sign in to Rev Seller, so just give me a second here. No problem. And Rev Seller is going to tell you that information. So it's super helpful to have. And your ROI is going to be the amount after fees. So say this tracker is $140. I bought it for $80. Okay. So that would make, I would net, so I would get back $35.79. My ROI would be a little bit below that 50%. It would be at 45%. And then these would be my fees. So you can see that there's a referral fee of 15%. This varies depending on what the product is. There's the fulfillment fee for using Amazon's fulfillment services. There's a 30-day storage fee, and then you subtract your buy cost. So these three fees are going to be what you have to pay. Now this 30-day storage, that's going to be applied every month that it's at Amazon. So every month at Amazon, I'm going to be charged another 2 cents. Do you see that, Eric? Does that make sense? The cost is 80. I put in right here, this buy cost. Yep, that's the buy cost. Rev Seller. This is Rev Seller. Yep. Yep. Yep, the sell price. How much I'm selling it for. Yep, I'm selling it for 140. Yep. Yeah. Yep. 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 You try to do that, yeah. Yep. 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 Absolutely.
I think it depends on the products that you're selling to. For example, you can have products that
yeah, so yeah, that's what I mentioned. So that's something that you have to watch out for. So if you go for the lower ROI, you just have to make sure that we want the ROI to, the lowest is like 40. If they turn quickly, then it's not such a bad thing, but you also have to look at that net because you also want to make money off of it too. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. All right, are there any other questions? All right. So take this information, use it for good, to improve your business. And Eric, you're starting from scratch, so this is actually the best piece of information to have right now because you haven't made any mistakes yet.